Hey there everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss? Star Trek The Next Generation is a series that defined many people's youths and introduced them to the science fiction genre, much like me. The series lasted for 7 years on syndicated television, and the cast went on to star in 4 future films, which continued the story of these beloved characters. Now, almost 35 years after the release of the pilot episode of The Next Generation, the main cast will be reuniting in the third and final season of Star Trek Picard, which showrunner Terry Matalas has described as a proper send-off for most if not all of these characters. Since it has been a while since I've watched any episodes of The Next Generation, I thought it might be fun to get a refresher on some of the finer points of the stories and characters from this series before the release of the new season of Picard by doing an online quiz about the show. I will put a link to the quiz in the video description if you would like to check it out, or you can play along with me here. If you do, let me know in the comments if you got a better score than I did. Also, thank you very much for clicking on this video, and if this is your first time here, my name is Eric, and on WDIM, I talk about sci-fi movies and TV shows every week. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons because it doesn't cost you anything, but it is the best way to help my channel grow. Okay, so question number 1. Name this episode, The Borg Assimilate Picard. The available answers are A. First Contact, B. Yesterday's Enterprise, C. Best of Both Worlds, D. Sins of the Father, and E. First Duty. First Contact was the name of the film about the Borg and basically acts as a kind of sequel to the episode in question. Yesterday's Enterprise was an episode of TNG that had nothing to do with the Borg, but instead was about the Enterprise being caught in a temporal anomaly that allowed the Enterprise C to travel to the present time. Sins of the Father also had nothing to do with the Borg and was a Worf family-centric TNG episode. The First Duty sounds like a TNG episode too, but right now I can't remember it. So the answer is obviously C, The Best of Both Worlds. In that episode, the Borg return after first encountering the crew of the Enterprise in the episode Q-Who, and they have basically been chasing them ever since. Starfleet attempts to stop the invasion, and this leads to the infamous battle of Wolf 359, in which thousands of lives are lost, including the wife of Benjamin Sisko. Definitely one of my favorite episodes of The Next Generation, and it still has one of the best season-ending cliffhangers in all of television.
Mr. Worf. Fire.
There we go. That was an ordeal.
Alright, question 2. What is the name of the final episode? A. Inner Light, B. All Good Things, C. Chain of Command, D. Best of Both Worlds, and E. Measure of a Man. All good episodes. Well, we just talked about Best of Both Worlds, so we know that the answer is not that one. Inner Light is possibly my favorite episode of TNG, but it was not the last one, and it had to do with Picard being shown the history of a long since extinct planet by thinking that he'd actually lived there after coming into contact with a probe. Chain of Command is a fantastic episode in which Picard is captured and interrogated by Cardassians, R.I.P. David Warner. The Measure of a Man is an episode in which Picard and Data are forced to prove Data's status as a living being and not just an object in front of a Federation court. So the answer must be All Good Things, which while being a solid series finale, was never meant to be an end for the crew, as they were all set to star in many more films, and it turns out another series over 30 years later. Question 3. Who is First Officer? A. Tasha Yar, B. Worf, C. Geordi LaForge, D. Data, and E. William Thomas Riker. Of those 5, I think that besides the answer William Riker, that Data was the only other officer shown to have been promoted to First Officer at any point, which was in the episode Chain of Command after Riker was relieved of duty by Captain Jellicoe. Worf, while never serving as a First Officer, was shown to captain the ship the USS Defiant on multiple occasions while he served on Deep Space Nine. Question 4. How many decks on the ship are there? A. 32, B. 65, C. 42, D. 28, E. 15. This is one that I actually do not know, and I wish one of these choices was 47, because I would definitely select that one, but I'm going to guess 28 for no real reason, and the answer is 42. Damn, so I already got one wrong. I know that the Enterprise D did have the largest crew complement of any Enterprise ship to that point, because the Enterprise D was the first one to include families. Alright, so question 5. How many shuttle bays are on deck? A3, B4, C5, D6, E7. This is another one I'm not sure of, but I seem to remember someone once referencing Shuttle Bay 5. So I'm going to say 5. And the answer is 4. So I guess I don't remember hearing someone say Shuttle Bay 5. Truthfully, I was never super into studying the different ships, so it's not a big surprise that I got these last 2 wrong. Question 6. Who is the second security chief? A. Yar, B. Worf, C. Data, D. Unari, E. Troy. Tasha Yar was the first security chief of the Enterprise D, and Data and Troy never served in that function. Unari was a character that Geordi had the hots for in an episode that I can't remember, but ultimately I know he landed once again in the friend zone. So the answer is of course Worf, who took on the position and switched to the yellow uniform after Tasha was killed in the episode Skin of Evil. He would continue to wear that yellow uniform until he transferred to Deep Space Nine, where he traded in for a red command one. Alright, question 7. Who is the transporter chief? A. Riker, B. Data, C. Worf, D. O'Brien, E. Unari. The answer to this one is Chief Miles Edward O'Brien, who actually beat Worf by a few years and transferred to Deep Space Nine after the Enterprise to become their chief of operations. Question 8. In the episode Cause and Effect, another ship collides with the Enterprise, causing its destruction. What was the name of the other ship? A. USS Farragut, B. USS Geronimo, C. USS Endeavour, D. USS Bozeman. The USS Farragut was the name of the ship that James Kirk served on before he served on the original Enterprise, and has been referenced in the 2009 film as well as on the series Strange New Worlds. The Geronimo and the Endeavour sound like ships that I have heard before on Star Trek, but I can't exactly place them right now. But the correct answer is the USS Bozeman, which is named after Bozeman, Montana, that besides being the site of First Contact, is also the birthplace of former Star Trek writer and producer Brandon Braga. Question 9. Throughout the Enterprise, there is a system of maintenance shafts that must be traveled through. What are they called? A. Engineering conduits, B. Jeffries tubes, C. Montgomery's tubes, I like that, D. Turbo shafts. A turbo shaft is of course a real thing and is a form of gas turbine used in helicopters and other heavy vehicles. The correct answer to this one is that these are known as Jeffries tubes, and they are named after Matt Jeffries, who I know designed the original USS Enterprise model. He may have been art director of the original series as well, although I do like the idea of renaming them to Montgomery's tubes, which would be named after the most famous engineer in Starfleet history, Montgomery Scott. Question 10. In the episode The Best of Both Worlds Part 2, where does Starfleet concentrate their fleet in an attempt to stop the Borg? A. Narendra 3, B. The Omarion Nebula, C. The Mutara Nebula, D. Wolf 359. All of the wrong answers sound super familiar, but I can't place them off the top of my head. The Mutara Nebula might have been the nebula in The Wrath of Khan, but the correct answer is Wolf 359. And if you have been paying attention, I actually gave the answer to this one while explaining another answer. Question 11. What was the name of Data's creator? A. Damon Bach, B. Nell Apgar, C. Noonien Singh, D. Noonien Soon. So Damon Bach was a Ferengi that blamed Picard for the death of his son and swore revenge against him. I can't remember the name of the episode right now. The name Nell Apgar does not ring any bells, so that character may just be escaping me too. Noonien Singh is the surname of Khan Noonien Singh, the villain from the original series episode Space Seed, as well as the film Wrath of Khan. Data's creator is named Noonien Soon, and while he is not related to Khan, the second season of Picard provided the first chronological link between the Soon family's obsession with genetics and Khan within a scene in the season 2 finale. Question 12. Before the Enterprise, Captain Picard served as lieutenant commander of what starship? A. USS Constellation, B. USS Reliant, C. USS Orion, D. USS Stargazer. The USS Reliant has been shown in Star Trek, but it is the ship that the aforementioned Khan was able to take command of in the film The Wrath of Khan. The USS Constellation and the Orion do not sound that familiar to me, although the Orion are an alien race that, while being featured heavily on Star Trek, were I believe absent from the Next Generation series. The ship that Jean-Luc served on before the Enterprise was the Stargazer, and fans actually got to see an updated version of the Stargazer during the second season of Picard under the command of Cristobal Rios. Out of 12 questions, I only got 10 right, which is actually surprising to me, but the questions I got wrong were pretty random. All in all, I thought the quiz was decent, but let me know in the comments if you enjoyed it. If this video does well, I will look for a Deep Space Nine quiz next, so if you know where I can find a good quiz, let me know that as well. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please hit that like button if you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time on What Did I Miss?